Working as a freelancer, one of my plans when relocating to Texas was I wanted to spend more time focusing on training and being physically fit in exchange for working a little bit less. And I've been fortunate the last several weeks to have a lot of freelance days locally where I can get home each day at a reasonable hour and still able to hit the gym and train. So offloading the van from the 2 weeks of rodeo and bull riding work and resetting to defaults. Now I've got kind of my common equipment staged here at the house in the garage, and I still have a storage unit that's got a similar quantity of cases. I seem to manage to thin things down in storage, getting closer to the point of getting rid of that storage unit, and then it fills back in with stuff. I'm certainly in the state where every time I buy a new piece of equipment, I'm trying to get rid of something that's in the van. So resetting for some network news, live hits, and news gathering. So stripping out a lot of the corporate, more commercial style lighting, going back to just the Aperture 300Ds and 2 Astra 6X LED panels. And then I've got 4 of the little newer panels I use mostly for backlights and just impromptu interviews. Those newer panels ride in the tool chest. Back to the gym training. Beck's putting a little more time in blue here. Working on his boxing, a little bit of light sparring, jab only. He's working with a former college wrestler who's now training to be an MMA fighter. I actually don't even know his real name. Everyone's got nicknames at the gym, so that's OT. And Beck's just working his guard, keeping his elbows in, shield his body, keeping his guard higher so he's not getting popped in the face so much. I make these same mistakes. Spending some money before it came in. The Jeep's in the shop. It's getting a new transmission, new clutch, flywheel pressure plates getting machined. I think that's the part name. It's a little warped, causing early clutch wear. And the transmission's totally shot. I think it's factory original, and I got, 160,000 on the truck. At any rate, I was booked for a 2-day shoot thinking, oh, that'll help pay for a big chunk of the transmission job. And 2 hours before call time, canceled because the talent was sick. So today would have been day 2. So here's my question for y'all. When you have a same-day cancellation for a regular client, do you charge them full rate? Do you charge them a kill fee, which is reduced? Or do you just apply a credit, bill them, but give them a credit day later? How do you handle that? If it were a one-off, I'd probably handle it a little bit more differently, more inclined to charge them in full. But, also want to be reasonable. So I know terms are one thing, but in reality is different. So at a minimum, figure I'm getting paid something for today, day 2. And I'm going to use that time to clean up my van. It's covered in smashed bugs. I drove back from Dallas-Fort Worth area, took the back roads home. It's mostly ranch land. And we got some big bugs here in Texas. And before the sun breaks out, I think it's going to hit 100 degrees today. Get this thing a little cleaned up. Maybe even get to the interior. Whew, all right, sun's not out and I'm already soaked. Washed the van, wiped it down, and I hand waxed the hood and the 2 rear doors. I don't want to get up and show you, but I'm documenting this for myself, so next time I wash the van, I remember which panels have been completed. I think I'll do the driver's side next time I hand wash. So I'll get the van reset to defaults. And I was thinking a bit while working here. I've had 2 other cancellations this year, maybe more. I should do a better job of actually documenting those because that would be a useful metric to break down. So I had an agency job for an agency I work for like once or twice a year, ongoing for numerous years. And it was a medical thing with a patient, elderly, and about 30 hours before the call time, they canceled. And I just released it. I didn't charge them a kill fee. I probably could have got a partial fee, but not in full. And it was a little bit more than 24 hours. But that's fine. I moved on. I don't think that one cost me any other work because it was confirmed. So I had the potential to pass on other bookings, but I don't recall anything coming in. So anyway, I let that one go. And then more recently, shooting news, out of town, multiple days. And one of the days, I think it was day 1. No, it was day 2. We wake up and there was other more pressing breaking news, so they killed us like 90 minutes before our hit. And then we were on standby all day. But we ended up not actually doing anything that day. And I worked the following day. Because that was all on location and I was on standby, I had no problem billing them in for full for that one. And certainly there was no request and certainly no pushback. I mean, I was effectively working. It's just the nature of working in the news business. And let's see, what else? I used to shoot a fair amount of political ads, local, state level, a little bit of national. I shot a few presidential candidate ads years ago. And some of those would, same thing, they would cancel night before or morning of, just based on campaign scheduling or missed flight times. I had one cancel private aircraft flying into the general aviation terminal of an airport. That was Burbank, California. And I think it was weather. They couldn't land, like low vis or something, below minimums, above minimums, however that works. Billed them in full, no problems, no resistance there either. It was expected. And we picked up a reshoot up elsewhere. I think we went to Northern California like a week later to shoot the ad. So this one, I mean, it's a little different. I don't think they're going to ask for a break, but I think I'm going to give them something of a credit. I just don't know what. So anyway, just a little more line of thought on that one. And I got to go take my second shower of the day. Looks like I jumped in a pool. It's soaked. It's so humid. Start to the week. 03:59. It's already a hot one too. $78. Oh, it feels like 84.
So, Jorge, what do we know about this alleged cartel hitman?
Well, Anna Presal, also known as El Nini, was considered Sinaloa's cartel's top assassin.
El Nini is considered one of the most ruthless figures in the Mexican drug trade. Here in the United States, El Nini faces multiple charges.
I purchased this app many years ago, SunPath or SunsPath. I know there's other options now. I think it was $20 back in the day when I bought it, but I use this all the time. Originally for commercials on Tech Scouts to understand where the sun was going to be on a particular time, and then we'd align the schedule to optimize each setup for best sun position. So for this one, my next hit's a little after the 8 o'clock hour. I think it was like 0810. So I got Beck dialing in the silk. This is just in case the sun punches through that cloud layer, which I think it did for the 9 o'clock, but not the 8 o'clock. But this is part of my usual routine whenever I'm setting up for a shot outdoors.
Yeah, good morning, Martin. So News Nation, we reported several incidents where Border Patrol agents have been assaulted by migrants trying to cross illegally into U.S. Just once again highlighting the dangers that Border Patrol agents face on the front lines.
Most of the news photographers nowadays, local and national bureaus, are running SUVs. When I started in broadcast 28 years ago, it was mostly vans, and my van is certainly a little bit overkill nowadays. All the gear's gotten so much smaller. I don't have to carry HMIs anymore. Don't really need to carry a generator either. But because I jump between corporate and less commercial work and broadcast, still like running the big van and then driving all over the place. As you've seen in my other videos, I love having that bunk to take little breaks. We covered the morning shift of news hits, and we were off at lunchtime, so Beck was able to get a private session in, and then next day I had my usual Wednesday chest and back session, and Beck trained with me. A little weight training to mix up the boxing. New project, different assignment, travel day and scout day down to Laredo, Texas, on the border with Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, and Mexico, right on the Rio Grande. This is one of the old school spots in Texas where it's still wide open on the Rio. There's no fencing. It's just had lighter border activity, but we're trying to figure out same as usual. We're going to be out there early in the morning capturing a train crossing into Mexico for a documentary. This is a contact that reached out to me from following my YouTube channel. It's a production company up in Canada making a documentary on a train. And someday when that film is out, hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit and refer back to it. But I did some drone shots of the train crossing this bridge with the Rio Grande, kind of to emphasize the international border. And then I had Beck on the FX9 with a telephoto lens to do a couple of different pan shots as the train progressed. And fortunately, it was moving much slower than I had rehearsed and anticipated, so we had a little bit more opportunity to get additional coverage. So now that you got enough spring, you're balanced and you got enough spring, next you're going to turn the drag up on the pan and tilt, because it's a telephoto lens, so you want a fair amount of drag.
Just going.
So it's not jittery. Probably 3 or 4. I know the indexing's a little off on that one. And check your pan, or just feel the pan versus the drag. They should feel about the same.
Oh, I need a lot more.
And the pan might be too high.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, where's Pam?
It's under that Velcro that I have on there for the live view. Yeah. And this is a lot of this is operator preference. It's lens and shot specific too. I like a lot of drag. Some people like very little. The older I get, the higher I like the drag. Just because I'm less smooth than I was when I was younger. All right, we'll shoot out the window, some cars outside to get a feel for how smooth you are at that drag setting. So next, go ahead and boot up the camera. We're gonna set the record specs for the job. All file, load, and we're gonna do the 2398 UHD. It's number 6.
So
Yeah, try a pan there. And from your position, that train's going to be going left to right. So maybe practice more left to right versus right to left. And you should also test with the eyepiece, since you're going to be in the eyepiece tomorrow. And the camera, the tripod height can be at whatever's most comfortable for you. So it's a little low right now, obviously. So the big thing is not to make any jitters, and hopefully no tilt adjustments during your shot. But if you need the tilt to make a better composition, you just want to kind of hide it in the motion of the action. Does that make sense? I wish those freeway cars were moving a little slower. You could pan with them, but obviously they're going way too fast. It's not practical for what we're doing. Maybe this frontage road has slower traffic.
it does.
Yeah, they're still moving pretty quick. And they're... Pull the pin, open the gate. There you go. Another life experience.
Can I get this out anymore?
What do you mean by out?
Like, not hitting this? The side?
Maybe. Yeah, try. I think you're maxed out on that rod. We can slide this rod over at a later date. There's a set screw under here. Because I don't need that much on the mic side. I need to do that on the Burano as well. Don't be afraid to do numerous panning passes to make sure your balance and drag are in the optimum settings. What's the problem?
It's balanced on the top, but it drags down on this side, but it doesn't drag down on the front.
So that's fore and aft, the sliding
but
plate.
It's balanced when
Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, I'm just here to do what you tell me what you don't want to do. So.
Correct.
So we'll wait and see, Natasha, as this hearing will start shortly to see what happens next. But Jose Ibarra is expected to answer pleas to those 10 counts. He's also a confirmed member of that Trinidad prison gang, which actually Border Patrol authorities have said that in the past week, they arrested 10 of those gang members on the southern border, Natasha.
And Jose Ibarra is a confirmed member of
All right, so this vlog spans a week and a half of work, and apparently my son only has 2 t-shirts, a blue one and a red one that is too small. Been running around, live hits at different places. It's so hot today. It was for sure 100% humidity, 92 degrees, spitting little raindrops. And yeah, the talent was soaked within minutes from the sweat. But we made it work on air, framed the shot a little tighter, and we had to use a stick mic because of background noise, and that helped conceal some of the profuse sweatiness that we were all experiencing. But we get a little breeze right now, and the sun's in and out of the clouds, and camera's facing west. So I'm gonna have to set up. I might need my Mapbox eyebrow for our last hit of the evening. We've got 3 to go, 1 per hour, about 22 minutes out from the next one. On our lunch break, I went back to the house and picked up a fan, thinking I can run that off the power inverter that's in the van to push a little air onto our correspondent. Question I get a lot is, what kind of work do I want to aspire to work on? And I kind of been there, done that. I'm loving what I'm doing right now. I'm really enjoying doing this news thing. If it were full time, I know I would burn out, but I love this being able to work for a week or two and then get away from it for a couple weeks and then get back on. I'm totally happy if this is sort of the scope of work I do for this last chapter of my career. Now, within a particular assignment, if I could choose, I definitely like a little bit more of a relaxed pace than doing a live hit every hour. Like, to be able to go out and news gather for a day or two, assemble it all, and then spend a day presenting it on air, that's ideal. And then to have a little bit of a mix in topics, some hard news, and then a feel-good piece, and then some pro sports, feature package work. Definitely enjoy it more than the corporate stuff, although the corporate stuff's like the bread and butter, steady money, and generally shorter hours. But I like working with a broadcast team because they make quick decisions. You tend to shoot things only in one take. And they just have a lot more experience than in corporate. So you get to turn and burn, learn from the day, and tomorrow's a new day, and build on what you learned yesterday, but you're starting fresh. And when I was based in California, I did more multicam type of broadcast work, 3, 4 camera, like the sit down, the Dateline 60 Minutes, Barbara Walters style, interview shows, magazine shows. Certainly would not turn away any of that type of stuff if it came my way. And as a business, that's certainly more lucrative, renting out 3, 4 cameras versus 1. What are you aspiring to transition into, grow beyond what you're doing currently? Or are you totally happy and just want to sort of maintain the customer base you have now? All right, that's it. See you next week.